Hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to our match reaction show. It's finished. Real Mallorca won. Real Madrid won. And Real Madrid will be very, very disappointed. Now, Mallorca is a difficult place to go to get 3 points. But I think that performance and the nature of that performance, I think, will just leave a lot of questions for Real Madrid. I think it's a very disappointing result and an even more disappointing performance from Real Madrid. Just give me a moment here. I don't know what's happened. But nonetheless, yeah, it was disappointing. I will get right into it. But do smash like on this video if you do enjoy it, and do smash like for Mallorca's performance. I thought they were really really good. Today they played very well. They probably could have won that game as well. Maybe that's stretching it a little bit, but they could have won that game. There were a couple of openings where they could have maybe done more than just get a point. But full value for the points. So smash like for Real Mallorca. And Yeah, do subscribe to our channel if you're watching this for the first time. We'll get right into it, and do share your comments on the game as well. If you're a Real Madrid fan, what did you make of that game? I think we came out of that game with a lot of questions, and there's not a lot of positives to take from that game. I would say that, because as much as it's a draw and it's not a loss and it's not the end of the world, I don't think there was any standout play for Real Madrid. I don't think anyone really had an outstanding game. Rodrygo's goal was good, but aside from that, he really didn't do much. And Luka Modric had some good touches, but couldn't make the impact that he wanted. Mbappe had some good touches. Vinicius had some good touches, got the assist as well for that goal. But still, there's still a lot of work to be done. I think the one positive, if you can take any positive from this game for Real Madrid, I think the positive will probably be the fact that there are glimpses of a nice link up between Rodrygo, Bellingham, Vinicius, and Mbappe. That front quartet. There are signs of life there, but at the same time, I think that there's a lot of what that quartet does. It does pose questions for the midfield and the defense, and those are questions that we'll talk about. So I think for me, first of all, the biggest takeaway from this game, I think, is the fact that midfield three of Valverde, Tchouameni, and Bellingham, it really really doesn't work. It doesn't work. To me, it doesn't work, and the reason why it doesn't work from this game, now it could change, and maybe players might get an improvement. But I think Tchouameni quite clearly is probably a replacement for Casemiro. If we assume that Kroos, Modric, and Casemiro are the gold standard midfield trio, I think Tchouameni does a decent job of replacing Casemiro. And Bellingham, you could probably say, probably replaces Kroos in a way, although he's not the same player as Kroos, but he might do the job of replacing Kroos. Modric, they don't have a replacement. Valverde is not a Modric replacement. Valverde cannot control the game. He cannot make those kind of flashy passes. He's a good box-to-box midfielder, but I think he cannot control games. He's not good enough of a CDM to play as a lone CDM. He's not a good enough attacker to play as a number 10. I think he's an in-between player. But I think Real Madrid, because Tchouameni can control the tempo of a game and Bellingham can't control the tempo of the game, they need a deep-lying playmaker, somebody who can actually control the tempo. You could see when Modric came on, the kind of difference that it made to the side, because he could do the things that perhaps Valverde and Tchouameni just can't. And they need a player like that. I don't know if they have a player like that at the moment at the club. I'm not sure if they do. Maybe Ceballos, but I don't think he's on that level. But other than that, I don't think they have a deep line playmaker. They need somebody who can come in and control the tempo of that midfield. But they don't have anyone at the moment. And replacing Modric, I think next season, whenever he decides to leave, that will be a major task for Real Madrid. They have to go and find the profile. They have to go and find that profile of player who can actually do it. Right now, I think Frenkie de Jong is probably a player like that, but he's never coming to Real Madrid. And then you start looking around to see who's possibly an option for Madrid to sign. But that is a problem, and I think what happened today, because of the fact that they didn't have a midfielder controlling the tempo, a lot of times the ball was going very fast. It was going vertical very, very quickly. They were trying to bypass the midfield to get straight to the feet of Vinicius or Mbappe or Rodrygo to use their pace. You could see Bellingham was picking up the ball very deep and then trying to run forward with it or trying to quickly lay off passes. And what that does is that when you're still figuring out your system, when you've got new players to try and integrate into the side, it leaves a lot of it brings in a lot of sloppiness, and that is what happened. A lot of the passes were being misplaced. A lot of the passes were being overhit because they were trying way too hard to get forward as quickly as they could, and because of that, they were doing hopeful long balls, which Mallorca started cutting out, or they were making passes that were aimless, or they were trying to pass too quickly, so they weren't having that proper direction or trajectory on it, and that allowed Mallorca to really get away from in many situations, and it put a lot of frustration in Real Madrid. And so therefore, having a Modric type player in the middle who can be the one who's going to receive the ball and then play it off or pass it, that is so important, particularly in a game like this where Mallorca were going to sit back. Now they didn't sit back all game. They had opportunities to win it, but towards the end when they were putting 11 players behind the ball, you need a Modric, maybe you need two Modrics even, sometimes, just to try and pick a pass, just try and unlock that defense. They ran out of ideas. By the end, I think they ran out of ideas. Real Madrid had no idea what to do, and actually Mallorca probably should have scored towards the end. They had a couple of very good chances that they, a little bit more luck, a little bit more composure, they probably could have got away with it and got a win. I'm not saying Madrid deserved to lose or that Mallorca deserved to win. I'm not saying that at all. But there were chances. I think if in the last few minutes it looked more likely that Mallorca were going to win than Real Madrid were going to win. Real Madrid were obligated to attack and obligated to try and find a way to win the game, but you just felt that maybe Mallorca had the better chances, and that is a concern for Real Madrid for sure. I don't know what the solution in the short term. I think the solution is that you probably start Modric in games. He can't play 3 games a week, but maybe you can play him 1 game a week. Maybe start him, particularly against teams that are going to sit back, which is most teams in La Liga when they play Real Madrid. They're going to sit back. They're going to let Madrid have possession. So you may want to start. Modric, and then the question is who comes out, and that's the key question, isn't it? Who comes out? Do you take out? You can't take out Tchouameni. You can't take out Bellingham. Then does Valverde come out? But he gives you so much energy. Then who do you take out from the front three? So that for me will be an interesting one. Rodrygo hasn't done his chances any harm because he scored a very good goal today. It was a good goal. It was a very well worked goal as well. I think we've got to talk about that goal. It was a very well worked goal. The ball comes out to Vinicius. Vinicius was a nice little backheel pass to Rodrygo. Rodrygo gets past a few players and scores a goal. It's a very nice goal, and it probably gave us an appetizer of maybe one thing start going well. This quartet could click and really score a lot of goals, and that was beautiful to see. Unfortunately, in this game, they flattered to deceive because they really couldn't capitalize on the mistakes or the chances that the half chances that they were creating. I think probably they could have done a bit more, but they really couldn't capitalize. And part of the problem was the midfield just didn't have control of the game. So it was every time it was really long balls and half chances that they were trying to manufacture out of nowhere rather than actually controlling the tempo and creating chance after chance after chance. So there are signs of life in that front four, but the problem is the midfield behind, and partly that's the problem with the front four as well, because you can't have a front four and then a midfield two of Modric and Tchouameni. I don't think that would work, but that's what they will need to figure out, is how those midfield is structured so that the front line, whether that's front four or front three, they can really shine. And I'm not sure what the answer at the moment is, but it's a bit of a double-edged sword in some ways, isn't it? Where you've got the really exciting attacking offensive play that you can have with these 4 players, but then you've got to figure out the defensive side of things. Real Madrid looked even before the goal concession. Real Madrid were very, very sloppy. Even in defense, there were so many balls that were being played straight to Mallorca. There were so many chances that they got away with as well a little bit. I thought Mallorca started off brilliantly even before the Madrid goal. In the first 5-10 minutes, they played really well. They dominated the exchanges. Probably should have scored there as well. So Madrid, but you expect that, a bit of lethargy maybe towards the start of the season. But to have that going 85 minutes into the game, they were still struggling. That is a bigger problem that Ancelotti is going to have to address. The goal for Mallorca was brilliant as well. A nice cross. You don't see that often, but it's a nice cross from Dani Rodriguez from a corner, and Muriqi just that defense was a problem. Muriqi just got in between. The thing is, so Muriqi was being marked by Mbappe. Why is Mbappe marking Muriqi? That's the first question that I think somebody's got to ask that question. Why is Mbappe the one marking Muriqi? You do not have a striker marking a striker. It has got to be either Rudiger, or it's got to be Militao, or at worst it's got to be Tchouameni. But it's one of those that's got to be marking Muriqi, not Mbappe. But Mbappe somehow suddenly is marking Muriqi, so that's one problem. The other issue is Bellingham is pretty static. He's not picking up Muriqi because he's probably thinking that I've got to be picking up. I've got to just be static. He does not even realize. Muriqi gets in front of him. He doesn't even realize it. He's nowhere. Watch that goal again. He doesn't even realize when Muriqi gets ahead of him. Rudiger decides that he's not going to go man marking. He's going to stand on the edge and he's going to be the one who's going to head it outwards. That is always very risky. As a defending team on a set piece, it is always very risky when teams decide that we're going to be static in a line and then we're going to go and try and head the ball away if it comes to us. Because what you do is you allow the attacker to have the momentum to run towards the ball, and then they can easily brush off defenders that are static. If you're standing static, and it's pretty much physics and gravity really, if you're standing static, the person that is running has more momentum and they can actually brush you off and get the jump on you. So I don't know what was going on, but I think Rudiger decided, well, I'm going to be standing behind and make that jump towards the goal. The problem was he completely missed it. And I think because Bellingham was static, so he could not pick. He had no idea of where Muriqi was anyway, and he couldn't pick him up. And Mbappe marking Muriqi was a straight win for Muriqi. So Muriqi just has a simple header, and I know it was a powerful header, but he gets all of that because Real Madrid get their set piece defending wrong, and that is something that Ancelotti is going to have to fix. But it was a very good goal, well deserved for Mallorca. I don't think it flattered them at all. And they come away with a 1-1 draw, which is well deserved. And towards the end of the game, they have 9-10 players behind the ball, which is absolutely acceptable. But at times they even got away from that. They actually had good opportunities on the break where just couldn't get that final pass right. The Dani Rodriguez or the Asano, they just couldn't get that final pass right. If they had, it could have been a bigger disaster for Real Madrid than just an opening day draw. It's not alarm bells yet. I don't think so. I think you've got to take it on the fact that it's the first game of the season and these things will happen. And God, I need Real Madrid to do well because Real Madrid are really the only thing standing between Manchester City and a Champions League title at this point. I think that I don't see any other team in Europe that's going to stop Manchester City from winning the Champions League this season. So Madrid. I need Madrid to do well, but there's not alarm bells yet. But there are issues in this performance that needs to be fixed, and there are things that in this game plan that Ancelotti has that he's gonna have to iron out. And how that works, I don't know at the moment. But like I said, the signing of Mbappe creates these issues. Sometimes you sign great players and it's wonderful, but then it creates these other issues of team balance and figuring out how you're going to play. Madrid aren't the side that usually opt for defensive pragmatism over attacking flair. So it'll be interesting to see how Ancelotti configures the team. For me, it was a simple decision. Was the fact that you play Mbappe and Vinicius, but you drop Rodrygo. But Rodrygo scored today. So how do you drop him? Vinicius was absolutely poor. And I've got to make a point about Vinicius here as well. Actually, I've got to make a point about a few things. Vinicius, of course, got Maffeo booked with a really over-the-top theater. I guess he got stamped on. But then the way he dived and did that theatrics was just unbelievable. Then Muriqi does that as well. The theatrics. Mojica did that as well. Like a lot of La Liga still hasn't stamped out this play acting thing that they are notorious for. They still haven't stamped it out. It's just all over the place. Everybody's like, oh, and then pounding the floor like oh my god, it's just unbelievable. I've got to say it's funny to watch. It's another level of shithousery in some ways, but it's just funny to watch. But yeah, they got to cut it out of that game. They've got to find a way to get rid of that because it just makes it so annoying to watch. I'm not a fan of either club, but still it's annoying to watch. Both players. They go, oh my god, I got hit. Like I got a bang on my. They bang the turf like as if it's like the biggest worst injury in the world, and they're up and running. About a minute later, they're just like walking and sprinting around. It's just unbelievable. I thought Vinicius he was quite good. He was my man of the match. I know they gave it to Bellingham, but actually he was my man of the match for the Super Cup game. And here today, I think he was very, very poor. He had a pretty bad game. Yes, he got an assist, but otherwise, he was struggling. And I think sometimes Vinicius is guilty of trying too much. I think he tries too much. He tries to be a creator. He tries to be a winger. He tries to be a goal scorer. He tries to be almost everything all at the same time, and you can't be that. Sometimes you have to pick and choose your moments and decide, on what you can do and what you can't do. And I think Vinicius just wants to be everything all the time, and it doesn't work, and sometimes it doesn't come off, which is what happened today. I think Bellingham is going to struggle this season. He's going to have a major struggle. We had a dream season last time around. He's due a come down anyway, after what happened last season, but I think he's going to struggle, particularly if he keeps playing in the position that he's playing, because as much as he was good in the second half against Atalanta, he had a pretty poor first half. In the second half, he was only good because he was starting to make runs beyond his markers. He was starting to run with the ball. He's very physical. He's using his physicality well. But today, I thought again he had a few decent touches. It's not that he had a bad game as such. I think it was still a good 5.5 out of 10 or 6 out of 10, maybe average. But by his standards, those are not good numbers to have. So I do wonder for him, and I wonder in the system what his role will be. Is it going to be a box-to-box player? Is he going to be an out-and-out playmaker? I don't think he can be an out-and-out playmaker, but I think as a box-to-box player, he's got to do a lot more rejigking of his game, because last season he was pretty much a centre-forward. Now he's going to have to figure out a way to also add defensive duties to his responsibility. He's going to be playing much more deeper, so that means it's going to be a more different role in terms of passing the ball, in terms of how he plays with his back to goal, with his front to goal, how he's going to do that. I think that will be the evolution. Whether he can make that adaptation and how quickly he can make that adaptation, I think will be something to watch. But yeah, I don't think he was good today. I don't think any Real Madrid player really comes out of credit. Mbappe had a couple of good chances, but I think Mbappe, for me, I think he almost favors that near post a little bit too much. I noticed even in the Euros when he played against Spain, I almost feel like he favors that near post a lot. Like he thinks he can catch out goalkeepers in that near post every time. The problem with that is if that's your trick in the box, people know that's your trick, so then they'll always go near post, and it's not a surprise anymore, right? So I almost feel like Mbappe, he sometimes has too much belief in his own ability, but he needs to figure out, because he's at Real Madrid now. It's not PSG, it's not the French league. It's a step up in quality. It's a major step up in quality. And he's gonna have to figure out how he's going to adjust and adapt his game, because the Madrid fans are relentless and ruthless. And if he doesn't have good performances, I'm not saying he played badly today, but he wasn't at his best anyway. But if he doesn't have good games, they're gonna be on him. So he's gonna have to figure that out. But today I thought there was some good link-up play, but also not some very good. He also had. I think these are the games where you want an Mbappe to step up. And I was talking about this in the Hala in the City review as well, where I said these are the kind of games that Haaland would have scored a goal in. He would have somehow found a way to score a goal in, and then you would be like, yeah, well, it's a 2-1 win instead of a 1-all draw. These are the games that make a difference, and these are the games where you need those top strikers to make an impact. And I thought Mbappe, this game was set up for him to make an impact in that same way today, to be able to go and say, right, I'm going to go and score a goal. When everything is down, when we haven't played well, and we haven't created a lot of chances, I'm going to make sure that I get some, one chance, half chance that falls to me, I'm going to convert it. And he had an opportunity, but he missed it. And that is what the great strikers have to do, and that's why I think Mbappe is going to have to improve a lot. He's going to have these games. PSG don't normally have these type of games in Liga. Real Madrid have these kind of games in La Liga, and they have to try and find a way to win these games, and they will look to Mbappe to be the guy who's going to have to go and win them these games, and he's going to have to do that. So the first test failed today, but again, it's just the first test. It's not the end of the world. It's not the loss of La Liga. They will be disappointed that they've given 2 points to Barcelona now in terms of an advantage. But that being said, I think this is a long way to go, and I still feel Madrid they are still sort of slightly favourites to win the league. But this game, in some ways, I think it's a good thing to have this match as well right at the start, because then people will realize, what, we're not unbeatable. I mean, sometimes players, they say, oh, we don't want to believe the hype, but actually they do. Players are egotistical in some ways, and they do tend to believe. I mean, you're human, right? If everybody tells you what a great team you have, what a great team you have, what a great team you are, you're gonna believe it. At some point, your head will be turned, and you will want to believe it for yourself. Even subconsciously, you do. So sometimes having a game like this early on in the season, having a game like this first game of the season can be helpful. It can kind of stamp out the complacency, because there was a lot of complacency today. I mean, there was one time on commentary where McManaman was talking rubbish about, oh, this is too easy, oh, this is too easy. When shit like that is talked about, that's when players lose their shit as well. And players, and how do you you can't blame the players for believing the hype when right on live TV somebody's doing that. So sometimes games like these are helpful, because what it means is that a player can the players can kind of recalibrate and go, what, we're not unbeatable, we're not invincible, we've got to go out there and we've got to work hard, and we've got to fight, and we've got to win. We can't just expect to turn up and the team will roll over and give us a win. I think at some point, I think Real Madrid thought that in this game. I think the players thought that once they were 1-0 up, especially, I think they thought Mallorca will just roll over, we'll just score 2-3 more goals and it will be easy. That's not how football works. That's not how La Liga works. So I'm glad in some ways that this game happened right at the start, because it's given Ancelotti a list of the issues that are there and that he's got to iron out right at the start, rather than maybe in an important game in the Champions League or something like that, where, or one game before Barcelona you have to kind of figure out what's gone wrong. I think it's good that this happened at the start of the season, and now it gives him the chance to recalibrate and refigure out and reconfigure what needs to change, so that Real Madrid can get back to winning ways quickly. But anyway, well done to Mallorca. Absolutely nothing to take away from them. Fantastic performance. Muriqi was brilliant. He would be my man of the match. Muriqi would be my man of the match. I think it was sensational. You could say Mojica as well. I thought Mojica was pretty good as well. You could give him the man of the match too, but I thought Muriqi, because he scored the goal and he was very enterprising. And he looked a threat throughout the game. A bit unlucky that he's only come away with 1 goal in some ways, and he played an instrumental part in getting Mendy sent off. Which Ferland Mendy, I get what he was trying to do in that. It's stupid, but there was a last minute breakaway. If Muriqi gets away there's a break chance for Mallorca to score a goal. So Ferland Mendy has to bring him down. He makes a rash tackle, because obviously it's in that sort of desperation, panicky mode he did it. I had no complaint. You can't complain about that. It's a straight red card. It's a given. But Mendy had to make that tackle. He could have made it better. He could have timed it better. but in desperation and panic, there's no doubt that he had to make the tackle. The question is, could he have done better with the tackle itself? I think he could have, but the red card is absolutely justified. There's nothing to talk about, and Muriqi played a big role in that as well. So definitely, man of the match for me is Muriqi. But feel free to mention in the comments if you disagree with me. If you think it should have been someone else, let me know in the comments. Would absolutely love to hear from you. But smash like, as I said, for this video. If you enjoyed the smash like from Mallorca, smash like for this video. If you enjoyed if you enjoyed this discussion that I've had, please mention in the comments, what did you think of the game? What did you think of Real Madrid's performance? Were you impressed by it? Were you disappointed by it? Do you think Madrid can do better? No, what do you think Madrid need to do? They can do better, obviously, and they should do better. But what do you think needs to change before that next game? Let me know in the comments, of course. Absolutely would love to hear from you. And do subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Absolutely love your support. Would appreciate the support to continue. We've just crossed 450 subscribers, so thank you for that. But let us now try and get to 460. So thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again for the Juventus Como game tomorrow. We're done for today. No more videos for today, so we'll take a break now. The weekend is over. We'll be back again with reactions to the Juventus Como game tomorrow. So if you are a Serie A fan, or if you don't like Serie A, actually Serie A is wonderful, by the way. You should watch it for sure. I'd recommend everyone to watch that. It's a wonderful league. I think both Serie A and La Liga are shaping up, at the moment at least, they're shaping up to be entertaining this season, which is more than what I can say for the Premier League. But nonetheless, if you are interested, if you are a Juventus fan, if you're a Serie A fan, do tune in next week, tomorrow, for reactions to the Juventus Como game. But thank you so much for watching today. Take care. Have a lovely rest of your evening. We'll see you again very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.